Hey everyone, I'm Dan from JazzComposersPresent.com, an online space where composers, musicians, and listeners come together to celebrate the music we love. I'm joined today by Danny Jonokuchi, trumpeter, composer, arranger, and vocalist based in New York City, who leads his own ensembles and has arranged for many acclaimed artists. Danny is here to show us how to compose work songs that help develop ideas as a player.
That's right. Thanks for having me. So today we're going to go over a method that I learned from the great Dick Oates, who's of course the incredible composer and saxophonist, best known for his work in the lead alto chair of the Thad Jones Mel Lewis Orchestra. So I had the great pleasure of studying with Dick at Temple University in Philadelphia, and he had this idea of writing work songs that were meant to develop your areas you were struggling with as a composer and as an improviser. So this could be on a number of topics, like an interval you're working on, like major sevenths, or a tonality, like the melodic minor scale, or even something rhythmic, like playing in 5/4. So today, for the mini lesson, I wanted to write a work song that was based on the diminished scale. So before we get started, I just want to say that the purpose of this exercise is really to make music. This isn't a science experiment. You're meant to really use your sense of musicality to guide you through this whole thing, because the idea is to grow both as a composer and as an improviser. So on this first slide, you'll see I wrote out the diminished scale in its most basic form, and then wrote out different ideas using scale patterns, using different skips, steps, leaps, and of course, all the while doing all the different permutations in retrograde, in inverse, and trying to just make sure that we're developing our ears, singing through these, playing through these on our instrument, and getting really familiar with how they look and sound and feel, of course. On this next slide, you'll see that I started to use different ideas that are more common in the jazz improvisatory language, a lot of these different fourth ideas that we've come to know and love. And of course, all the while, you're just trying to generate different ideas for your composition. At the bottom of the slide, you'll see I started to using different triadic pairing, something that's so commonly found and a great tool when using the diminished sound. On the next slide, you'll see that I then wrote out some of the chords that you can start to use these diminished sounds over. So a nice little tool is just to play the chords on piano or guitar and then improvise freely. And you're really trying to get this in your ear before you start to compose, so you really have a solid basis of what you're trying to go for. So for this work song, I wanted to start out with a groove that started with a bass line. So on this next slide, you'll see that the bass line starts with the diminished scale in the same key that we showed earlier. And if you're improvising and performing this, you could be playing the diminished scale ideas over it, over this bass line. Now, as you get into the tune, you can see that I use the notes of the diminished scale here to guide me, but not necessarily every chord has to be derived from the diminished scale. Again, we're working on music here, so not everything has to be strict, and you can decide, how strict you want to be with whatever rules. So I wrote this melody mostly using one diminished scale, but you'll notice there's a couple parts of it where I veered off, maybe added a little bit of a chromatic approach tone, or even sometimes using a different diminished scale. But it's really just trying to make sure you're, using all the ideas that you already just worked on. So let's go ahead and give it a listen, and you can see how the diminished scale can turn into something musical. All right, so the next step once you've written your work song is, of course, to play it. This is where you can really test out your ideas. You can hear these ideas played, and you can see how something like an exercise if you like it so much, it can even become something you want to perform live and orchestrate for a big band or orchestra. So that's really the goal here, is to make music. It's really important to remember that this isn't meant to be something robotic or a science experiment. And then I guess the final step is you can give it a fun little title, and bonus points if you can make it a pun or something related to your idea. So you can see here, I came up with the title, You Win Some, You Dim Some. So I look forward to checking out your work songs. Good luck.
Thanks for watching today's mini lesson. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Drop any questions, comments, or suggestions for future videos down below. To watch our full-length events and participate in live Q&As with our presenting artists, head to jazzcomposerspresent.com. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.